Hey, and welcome back to JBC English Learning Academy. My name is Laura, and I'm here to guide you on your journey to clear, confident, and natural English. If you truly love your parents, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, keep watching the video, and comment on how much you love parents. Your support truly helps this channel grow. Alright, take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin today's session. I want you to imagine a simple morning, a quiet morning, a fresh beginning that feels soft and calm, like the world is slowly waking up with you. In this story, I speak to you slowly, gently, and clearly, so you can understand every word and enjoy the rhythm of English. Because this story is not only a story, it is also your English practice, your listening practice, your speaking practice, and your moment to grow. So let us begin with a young man named Leo, a friendly person who is kind but often feels lost, someone who wants success but does not know how to start. On a warm morning, Leo opens his eyes and hears the birds outside his window. The sound makes him smile because it reminds him of something he has forgotten for a long time. He used to love mornings. But recently, he has been waking up with stress, with confusion, with too many thoughts in his mind. This morning, however, feels different, and Leo does not know why. Maybe it is because he slept well, or maybe because the air feels fresh, or maybe because he is finally ready to change something in his life. He slowly gets up from his bed and walks to his small kitchen. The kitchen is simple, nothing special, but the sunlight coming through the window makes it look warm and beautiful. Leo sits down on a chair, closes his eyes, and breathes in deeply. For the first time in many days, he gives himself 1 minute, just one small minute, to feel the moment. And in that minute, something inside him whispers that this could be a new beginning. This whisper becomes the hook of his day, a soft voice that says, "Start small, start today." Leo begins to think about his life. He wonders why success always feels far away. He remembers how many times he tried to make big changes, new plans, new routines, new goals, but every time, he tried to change everything at once. He would say, "Tomorrow I will wake up early, run 10 kilometers, study for hours, clean my room, start a new project, and so on." But when tomorrow came, he felt tired, overwhelmed, and discouraged. So he stopped trying. And this made him feel even more disappointed in himself. As he sits in his kitchen now, he realizes something simple but powerful. Maybe success does not come from big changes. Maybe success comes from small habits, daily habits, the kind that feel easy and gentle, the kind that slowly build a stronger life. This is the beginning of Leo's transformation, but he does not see it yet. He only feels a small curiosity growing in his heart, a curiosity about daily habits and how they can shape a person's life. He whispers to himself, "Maybe I can try something different today. Something small. Something possible." He stands up, walks to his small desk, takes a piece of paper, and writes one simple sentence. "Today, I will start with one small habit." When he sees those words written in his own handwriting, he feels a strange peace. He does not feel pressure, he does not feel fear, he only feels a quiet excitement. But after the excitement comes the challenge. A thought enters his mind, like a shadow moving slowly across the floor. What if I fail again? Leo stops writing. He looks at the paper. His hands shake slightly. He remembers all the times he started something and quit after a few days. His confidence drops. This is his challenge, the first obstacle of the day, the familiar feeling of doubt. But instead of running from the feeling, Leo decides to explore it. He asks himself, why do I think I will fail? What makes me afraid? What makes this different from before? These questions help him explore his own thoughts, and this exploration becomes a turning point. He realizes that before, he expected too much from himself. He wanted perfection, not progress. He wanted fast results, not small steps. And because he expected so much, he felt disappointed quickly. With this new realization, Leo takes a deep breath, and the fear in his heart becomes a little lighter. He whispers again, this time with more strength, one small habit is enough for today. He looks around his room, and his eyes stop on a small glass of water sitting near the window. The sunlight makes the water sparkle softly. Leo smiles and walks toward it. He picks up the glass and says, I will make this my first habit. Every morning, I will drink a glass of water. It sounds simple, maybe too simple, but Leo understands that this is exactly the point. He does not need to climb a mountain today. He only needs to take one step. So he drinks the water slowly and gently, and with each sip, he feels the beginning of a new journey. The water feels cool and refreshing, almost like a symbol of clarity. And as he finishes the last sip, he feels something changing inside him, a new energy, a new mindset. This becomes his transformation for the day. Not a big, dramatic transformation, but a small, quiet one. A transformation that says, you can start small. You can start again. You can build success one day at a time. When he puts the empty glass down, Leo looks outside the window again. The world looks the same, but he feels different. He feels a little stronger, a little clearer, a little more hopeful. And with that feeling, he begins his reflection. He thinks about how simple this morning has been, waking up, breathing, thinking, drinking water, and yet it feels meaningful. It feels like a gentle beginning. He reflects on how daily habits do not need to be big or impressive. They only need to be consistent. They only need to feel natural. They only need to help you take one small step forward every day. And with this reflection, a soft smile appears on his face. For the first time in a long time, he feels proud of himself. Not because he achieved something great, but because he started. And starting is often the hardest part. So, what is the takeaway from Leo's first morning? The takeaway is this: success begins with one small habit. One simple action that repeats every day. You do not need to change your whole life in one moment. You only need to choose one small habit that feels good and easy for you. Maybe drinking water in the morning. Maybe stretching for 1 minute. Maybe sitting quietly for 30 seconds. These small habits can open the door to bigger changes in the future. But for now, all you need is one step. And as Leo stands in his small kitchen, looking at the bright morning light, he realizes he has taken his first step toward a better life. This is the beginning of his journey, and your journey too. Because as you listen to this story, you are also practicing a daily habit, listening to English, practicing English, improving slowly and naturally, one step at a time. And this simple daily habit will guide you toward success, just like Leo's first glass of water guides him into a new chapter of his life. Now his day is just beginning, his story is just opening, and many more moments are waiting for him. And for you. This is only the first morning, only the first step, but it is already powerful. When Leo steps outside his small apartment, the morning air feels cool against his skin, and the world around him seems calmer than usual, as if the day is giving him space to think, to breathe, to begin again. He walks slowly down the street, not in a hurry, not trying to be fast or efficient, but simply letting himself move forward with gentle steps. This walk becomes part of his new habit without him even planning it. He looks at the sky, bright and open, with soft clouds floating like slow ships. He listens to the distant sounds of cars, to the quiet laughter of a group of students walking nearby, and to the soft rustle of leaves moving in the wind. As he walks, Leo feels something he has not felt in a long time: presence. He feels present in this moment, not thinking about yesterday's mistakes, not stressing about tomorrow's tasks. He is simply here. And being here makes him realize how much he has missed the simple things in life. This is the hook of his second moment of transformation, understanding the power of being present. As he continues walking, Leo thinks about daily habits again. He wonders if a simple walk like this could become part of his routine. He imagines waking up every morning, drinking his glass of water, and then stepping outside for a short walk, even 5 minutes, even just around the block. He smiles at the idea because it feels possible. It feels natural. It feels like something he could do even on a busy day. He remembers reading somewhere that success is not built in one moment, but is built slowly through repeated actions. Now he is starting to understand what that means. It means doing something small every day, something that fits into your life, something that makes you feel alive. As he thinks about these ideas, he passes by a small park where children are playing near a fountain. Their laughter fills the air, bright and pure, and Leo feels a wave of peace washing over him. But as he walks deeper into the park, a familiar challenge appears. A thought whispers, "Walking won't change your life. Small habits won't help you. You need bigger plans." This voice is the same voice that stopped him before. It is the voice of doubt, of impatience, of fear. Leo slows down. He feels the uncertainty rising again. He feels the pressure to be perfect, to be impressive, to do something big. But instead of pushing the feeling away, he decides to explore it once more, just like he did in the morning. He asks himself, why do I think small habits are not enough? Why do I believe change must be big? These simple questions help him breathe through the challenge. After a moment, he sits down on a wooden bench near the fountain, watching the water rise and fall gracefully. And while watching the water dance in the air, he realizes something important. He realizes that water does not become powerful by being loud or dramatic. Water becomes powerful by being consistent. A small stream can carve mountains if it continues day after day, year after year. A tiny drop of water, falling again and again, can shape stone. This realization hits him gently but strongly. He whispers to himself, maybe small habits are like water. Maybe they shape my life slowly, one day at a time. This understanding brings calm into his heart. He thinks about his own life and how he always tried to change too fast. It was like trying to run before learning to walk, or trying to climb a tall mountain without preparing his legs. But now, watching the fountain, he sees that success is not a sprint. Success is a quiet, steady walk. Success is a habit. And this thought becomes his new transformation. Not a loud transformation, but a silent one that grows inside him like a seed. After sitting for a while, Leo stands and begins walking again. He feels lighter now. He notices details around him that he usually ignores: the soft yellow color of a flower near the path, the round shape of a stone beside the bench, the way sunlight reflects on the water. These small details remind him that life is made of small things, not only big events. And he starts to see how daily habits are exactly like these details. They may look small, but together, they create the whole picture of your life. As he leaves the park and walks toward the main street, he begins reflecting on what he has learned so far today. He thinks about his first habit, drinking water in the morning, and how simple it felt. He thinks about this walk and how peaceful it made him. He realizes that daily habits do not need to be exciting or dramatic. They only need to be helpful, gentle, and doable. And he understands that small habits can slowly lead to bigger habits, like stepping stones across a river. One stone at a time. Step by step. Moment by moment. Leo reaches a small cafe and decides to go inside. The smell of freshly brewed coffee fills the air, warm and comforting. He sits near the window and watches people walking by. Some look busy, some look tired, some look relaxed. Leo wonders about their habits. Do they have small habits that guide their day? Do they feel overwhelmed by big goals like he used to? Maybe they do. Maybe everyone struggles with the idea of success. Maybe everyone is trying to find small habits that help them feel balanced and strong. A soft reflection begins forming in Leo's mind. He realizes that habits are not only actions, they are conversations with yourself. Every morning habit says, "I care for myself." Every small step says, "I am trying." Every moment of presence says, "I am here." And when you say these things to yourself every day, your mind begins to believe them. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to feel that success is possible. And this trust becomes a form of confidence that grows with time. With this gentle understanding, Leo closes his eyes and breathes slowly. He feels grateful for this morning, for this walk, for this simple cup of coffee. He reflects on how different he feels compared to yesterday. Yesterday, he felt lost. Today, he feels like he has direction. Not a big, complicated direction, but a simple and human one. Start small, stay steady, trust the process. When he opens his eyes, he smiles softly. And this is the takeaway of Section 2. Daily habits may be small, but they fill your day with meaning. They give your mind a simple path to follow. They help you feel grounded. And when you commit to one small habit, it becomes easier to add another. And then another. And soon, without noticing, you become someone stronger, someone clearer, someone who is moving forward every day. Leo's day is only beginning, and many more habits are waiting to be discovered. And as you listen to his journey, you are also building your own daily habit of learning English, of practicing listening, of improving your speaking. This is your walk into the day, and it is just as meaningful as Leo's footsteps across the park. As the sun climbs higher in the sky and the morning slowly turns into afternoon, Leo walks back home with a calm feeling growing inside him, almost like a quiet promise filling his chest, a promise that today will be different, that today will matter. Not because something big will happen, but because he is finally learning how to live slowly, gently, and with intention. When he enters his apartment, he notices the soft silence of the room, a silence that used to feel heavy and lonely, but now feels open and warm, like there is space for new thoughts, new habits, and new beginnings. He puts his keys on the table and sits down in his chair, letting the stillness of the room surround him. He takes a deep breath, one of those deep breaths that makes your chest feel wide and your mind feel clear, and with that breath, he feels the energy of the morning still glowing inside him. This is the hook of his afternoon journey, the quiet spark that says, there is more you can do today. Leo looks around his room, noticing the small things he usually ignores. A stack of papers on his desk. A cup he forgot to wash. A jacket left on the floor. These things are small, but when he looks at them today, he sees something different. He sees not a mess, but a message. His environment reflects his mind. If his room is chaotic, his thoughts are chaotic. If his space is clear, his mind becomes clear. This realization brings him back to the idea of daily habits, and he wonders if one of his new habits could be taking 5 minutes each day to tidy his room, not cleaning everything perfectly, but just putting one thing in order, just one. He smiles at this simple idea. It feels small enough for him to try. It feels like something he could add to his life without pressure. But as soon as he stands up to start cleaning, a new challenge appears, one that feels stronger than the morning doubt. A voice in his mind says, 5 minutes of cleaning won't change anything. Your room will get messy again. Why bother? This voice sounds heavier, more discouraging, almost like a weight pulling him backward. For a moment, Leo feels himself sinking into old habits, avoiding, ignoring, giving up. But this time, something stops him. He remembers his walk in the park, the water fountain, the small habits shaping the stone, the power of consistency. He closes his eyes and takes another deep breath, letting the air remind him that he is stronger than this voice. With gentle movements, Leo walks to his desk, picks up one sheet of paper from the messy pile, and places it neatly in a drawer. Then he picks up another sheet, folds it, and puts it away. He does not look at the whole mess. He looks only at this small action at this one moment. And as he continues taking one small step at a time, something interesting happens. The voice of doubt becomes quieter. His confidence grows. He feels lighter. After a few minutes, he steps back from his desk and sees a small empty space where the papers used to be. It is not a big change, but it is enough to make the room feel different. This becomes his exploration, his experiment with the idea of cleaning as a habit. And as he explores this, he discovers that the action itself is not what matters most. What matters is the feeling after the action, the feeling of control, the feeling of progress, the feeling of gentle accomplishment. As he moves around the room, picking up small items, folding clothes, washing the cup he left on the table, Leo feels a realization slowly forming inside him. He realizes that his room is not just a physical space, it is part of his inner world. When he cleans his room, even a little bit, he is cleaning his mind. He is making space for new ideas and peaceful thoughts. And he begins to understand that daily habits are not just routines, they are messages to yourself. When you drink water, you tell yourself, I take care of my body. When you walk in the morning, you say, I give myself time to breathe. When you clean your space for 5 minutes, you say, I respect my environment. These small messages add up, and slowly, they build a stronger, kinder relationship with yourself. This realization leads Leo to another thought. He walks to the window and looks outside, watching people moving through the street like small stories unfolding. He wonders how many people wake up feeling stressed or overwhelmed, just like he used to. How many people think success must come from giant changes? How many people stop themselves because they expect too much too fast? He feels a soft compassion for them and for his past self. This compassion becomes part of his transformation. He begins to see that success is not only about habits, it is about kindness. Kindness to yourself. Kindness to your own journey. Kindness to the slow process of becoming better. Leo sits on the edge of his bed and reflects on how different the afternoon feels compared to his usual afternoons. Normally, he would feel tired or distracted, scrolling through his phone, wasting hours without meaning. But today, the afternoon feels like a bridge between the morning and the evening, a bridge he can walk with awareness, with care, with purpose. He stands up again and decides to make himself a small snack. Something simple. He goes to the kitchen, slices an apple, pours himself a little tea, and sits at the table. As he takes slow bites, he enjoys the taste of the fruit, something he never paid attention to before. He notices the sweetness, the crisp sound when he bites, the freshness in his mouth. It makes him think about daily habits again. Eating slowly could be another habit. Paying attention to what he eats. Enjoying food instead of rushing through it. He smiles at how many small habits exist, waiting to be discovered. His mind begins to feel like a garden full of small seeds, each seed a possible new habit, each one simple and gentle. After finishing his snack, he goes to his bookshelf and picks up an old notebook he hasn't touched in months. He opens it and sees empty pages. And suddenly, he feels a desire to write something. Not a big plan, not a long list of goals, just a simple promise. He writes, "This afternoon, I will live slowly." When he sees the words on the page, they feel powerful. Not because the sentence is big, but because the meaning is deep. Living slowly means paying attention. It means being present. It means noticing your thoughts without rushing. It means valuing the small actions. And for Leo, living slowly today means continuing the habit of being gentle with himself. He closes the notebook and begins reflecting again. He thinks about how the morning brought clarity, how the walk brought presence, and how the cleaning brought peace. This reflection helps him see that daily habits are not only actions, they are experiences. They are moments. They are pieces of the day that shape the rhythm of your life. And when you choose good habits, your day becomes balanced. Your mind becomes calmer. Your heart becomes lighter. As the afternoon sun shines into the room, painting soft golden shapes on the wall, Leo feels the takeaway forming clearly in his heart. The takeaway is this: success grows in the quiet hours of the day, in the simple choices you make when no one is watching, in the tiny actions that seem unimportant but slowly build your future. You do not need to change everything today. You only need to choose one small habit and keep it alive. And then choose another. And another. And slowly, you become a person who lives with intention, a person who feels steady inside, a person who trusts the process. Leo stands up, feeling peaceful, and looks around his room one more time. The afternoon has given him something special: clarity, presence, and a gentle promise to keep going. And as you listen to his story, you too are building your own habit of listening, of learning English, of improving your skills one slow moment at a time. This is the afternoon promise, a quiet moment where small habits grow into a stronger you. As the afternoon slowly softens and the sunlight begins to turn golden, Leo feels a gentle shift inside him, like the day is moving into a calm new chapter, and he is moving with it, step by step, thought by thought, habit by habit. He stands near the window and watches the sky slowly change its colors, from bright blue to warm orange, from orange to soft pink. He feels the day relaxing, and inside this relaxing moment, he feels something growing, a quiet strength, a sense of inner balance that he has not felt in a long time. This soft feeling becomes the hook of his evening journey, a gentle invitation to continue the habits he started today, to explore the meaning of success in the quiet hours before night arrives. He walks to the kitchen and pours himself a warm cup of tea, holding the mug with both hands, feeling the heat through his fingers. This simple warmth makes him feel safe and calm, and as he takes a slow sip, he realizes how important it is to end the day with peace. Leo sits at his small table and thinks back to the morning. He thinks about the glass of water, the walk in the park, the 5 minutes of cleaning, and the peaceful snack he enjoyed. These moments feel small, but when he puts them together, they feel like steps on a gentle path. A path that is guiding him toward a stronger mind and a clearer life. But as he reflects, a new challenge enters his mind, an old familiar challenge. He begins to worry about tomorrow. He wonders, what if I can't continue these habits? What if I wake up tired? What if I lose my motivation? The fear of not being consistent starts to pull at his heart. He knows this fear well. It is the fear that stopped him many times in the past. The fear of not being perfect. The fear of failing. The fear of breaking the promise he made to himself. For a moment, Leo feels the weight of these thoughts, heavy like a stone sitting on his chest. But instead of letting the fear control him, he decides to explore it gently, like he did earlier in the day. He closes his eyes and breathes slowly. He tries to understand why he feels afraid. And then he realizes something important. He thinks success means doing everything perfectly, every day, without missing a step. But that is not true. Success is not perfection. Success is trying. Success is getting back up. Success is practicing, even when you feel slow. He opens his eyes and whispers to himself, I don't need to be perfect. I only need to be present. With those words, the fear becomes lighter and the challenge becomes easier to face. He takes another slow sip of tea, letting the warmth remind him that he has already done enough today. He has already taken steps forward. And that is enough. After sitting quietly for a few minutes, Leo gets up and decides to take a short evening walk, just around the block. The air feels cooler now, and the streets have a calm evening rhythm. He listens to the soft sounds of people talking, the distant laughter from a nearby cafe, and the gentle rustling of leaves. The world feels peaceful, and Leo feels connected to it in a new way. As he walks, he reflects on how different this evening feels from most evenings in his life. Usually, he would spend this time scrolling through his phone, watching videos, or worrying about tomorrow. But tonight, he feels present. He feels grounded. He feels like he is building something meaningful inside himself, something strong but gentle, like a quiet flame that will not go out easily. As he continues walking, Leo begins to explore the idea of an evening habit, something simple, something calming, something that helps him end the day with gratitude. He thinks about writing in a journal, reading a few pages of a book, stretching, or even sitting quietly with his thoughts. After thinking for a while, he decides that journaling might be the habit he needs. He wants a place to put his thoughts, to express what he feels, to understand himself better. He smiles softly at the idea and begins walking back home with a gentle excitement in his heart. When he returns home, he goes straight to his desk, opens his notebook, and writes the date at the top of a clean page. He writes slowly, carefully, as if giving each word a small piece of his attention. He writes about his morning, his walk, his cleaning, his snack, and his reflections. As he writes, he begins to feel the power of putting thoughts on paper. It feels like letting his mind breathe. It feels like giving his emotions a safe place to rest. And it feels like another small step toward building a stronger daily routine. Writing becomes his exploration of the evening, a gentle way to connect with himself. As he continues writing, a realization begins to grow. He realizes that his habits today were not difficult. They were not dramatic. They were not heavy or exhausting. They were simple. And because they were simple, they felt natural. They felt human. They felt like pieces of a life he could live every day. This realization makes him smile, and he writes one sentence with careful joy. Simplicity makes success possible. When he looks at this sentence, he feels something opening inside him, a new space where hope can grow. He realizes that he has spent years making success feel complicated, when in reality, success is built on small actions done slowly, with care, with presence. This understanding becomes a new transformation for him, seeing that success is simple when you give yourself permission to go slowly. After finishing his writing, Leo closes the notebook gently and places it on the corner of his desk. He stands up and stretches his arms above his head, feeling his muscles relax. Then he dims the lights in the room, making the space softer and more peaceful. He sits on the floor, closes his eyes, and breathes deeply. The room feels calm. The world feels quiet. And Leo feels connected to himself in a warm, gentle way. He reflects on the entire day, from morning to evening, and feels grateful for the small habits he discovered. He knows that he cannot predict tomorrow, but he does not need to. All he needs to do is continue taking one small step at a time. As he sits in the quiet room, he thinks about his journey in simple words. Today, I lived slowly. Today, I lived with awareness. Today, I lived with kindness. And he realizes that these simple ideas can guide him not only today, but every day. This reflection becomes the heart of his evening, a peaceful reminder that daily habits are not only about actions, they are about identity. They help shape who you become. They help build a life filled with calm, clarity, and quiet strength. The takeaway from this evening is gentle but powerful. The way you end your day matters just as much as the way you start it. A peaceful evening creates a peaceful mind. A peaceful mind creates a peaceful life. And when you choose to end your day with small habits, writing in a journal, taking a slow walk, breathing quietly, you tell yourself, I am worth this moment of peace. Leo feels this truth deeply as he stands up, ready to prepare for sleep. He turns off the lights, walks to his bed, and slowly lies down. The darkness feels soft, not heavy. His mind feels quiet, not stressed. And as he closes his eyes, he whispers one last thought. Tomorrow, I will begin again. With that gentle promise, Leo drifts into a calm sleep, carrying with him the quiet strength he built through the simple habits of his day. And as you listen to his story, you too are building a peaceful habit, practicing English with patience, with presence, with gentle confidence, one quiet moment at a time. When the morning light slowly returns and the first soft glow touches Leo's closed eyes, he wakes up feeling different, not because something magical happened overnight, but because yesterday planted a quiet seed inside him, a seed made of simple habits, gentle awareness, and small steps that felt honest and human. As he opens his eyes, he does not rush to get up. Instead, he lies still for a moment, listening to the peaceful silence of his room. He feels calm, not stressed. He feels steady, not confused. And as he breathes slowly, he remembers the thought he whispered before falling asleep. Tomorrow, I will begin again. That thought becomes the hook of this new day, a soft reminder that every morning is a fresh chance, a new start, a small beginning waiting to grow. He moves gently out of his bed and sits at the edge, feeling the cool floor under his feet, grounding him in the present moment. This small pause helps him feel centered before he takes his first conscious action of the day. He walks to the kitchen, picks up his glass, fills it with water, and drinks slowly, just like yesterday. But today, something feels different. Today, this habit feels familiar, almost natural, almost like it belongs in his life. As the cool water moves through his body, he feels a quiet satisfaction, not excitement, not pressure, but something softer, something steady. He realizes in this moment that success is not made of dramatic feelings. It is made of consistent moments like this, moments that repeat gently, shaping a calm and strong mind. After finishing his water, he steps outside for his morning walk. The air feels fresh and the world feels new, as if the day is opening itself like a soft book waiting to be read. As he walks, Leo feels grateful for the peaceful rhythm of the world around him, the slow movements of the clouds, the soft sound of footsteps on the sidewalk, the distant hum of morning life starting again. But soon, as he walks through the familiar path of the park, a new challenge arises. He begins to think about the future, not tomorrow, but the distant future. He wonders if he will always be able to keep his habits. He worries about busy days, difficult days, tired days. He asks himself, what if my life becomes too hard again? What if I cannot continue? What if I return to my old patterns? These thoughts come like a heavy wave, moving into his mind quickly and with force. For a moment, Leo stops walking. He feels the weight in his chest again. He knows this feeling. It is the feeling of doubt, the feeling of fear, the feeling that says you are not enough. But today, Leo has something he did not have before: awareness. He knows this challenge is part of the journey. He knows this doubt is familiar, but not permanent. So instead of letting the thoughts take over, he decides to explore them with care. He asks himself, why am I thinking about the future? Why am I afraid? What have I learned from yesterday? As he thinks, he walks to the fountain again and sits on the same bench he sat on before. He listens to the water rising and falling, the same sound that brought him clarity yesterday. And as he listens, a realization begins to grow inside him like a small light. He realizes he does not need to think about the future today. He does not need to worry about next week, or next month, or next year. He only needs to focus on now, on this moment, on this breath, on this walk, on this new day. He tells himself softly, success is not about the future. Success is about today. And with those words, the heavy feeling in his chest begins to melt away. The challenge becomes smaller. The fear becomes quieter. And Leo begins to feel steady again. With clarity returning to his heart, Leo stands and continues walking through the park. He begins exploring the idea that the future does not need to be predicted or controlled. It needs to be met one day at a time, with the courage to begin again each morning. This exploration opens a new space in his mind, a space where life does not feel like a race, but like a series of gentle steps. During this walk, Leo notices something new. The small habits he practiced yesterday have already changed the way he thinks today. His mind feels calmer. His steps feel slower. His heart feels lighter. And this becomes a transformation, realizing that daily habits are not only about behavior. They change the way you feel, the way you think, the way you breathe. Leo returns home with a peaceful energy. The day feels open, full of space and possibility. He sits at his desk, opens his notebook, and begins reflecting on his morning. He writes about his fear of the future, about the moment at the fountain, about how the simple sound of water helped him understand that each day deserves his full attention. As he writes, his thoughts become clearer, like the words are guiding him back to himself. He writes slowly, but with purpose, and as he finishes a sentence, he feels the soft joy of understanding his own mind. After writing, Leo decides to spend 5 minutes cleaning again. Not because he must, not because he should, but because it feels good. Because it helps him feel organized and calm. He folds the blanket on his bed, wipes the surface of his desk, and straightens the books on his shelf. These actions take only a few minutes, but they make the room feel lighter and make his mind feel ready for the day. As he moves around the room, he reflects on how small habits fit into his life, like small pieces of a puzzle. Alone, each piece seems simple, but together, they create a picture of a balanced, meaningful life. Later, Leo sits at the table with another simple snack, this time a banana and a small cup of tea. He takes slow bites, listening to the quiet room around him. And as he eats, a realization appears once more, soft but clear. He realizes that his habits are not only actions, but moments of self-respect. Each habit is a conversation with himself that says, I am worth this effort. I am worth this calm. I am worth this time. And the more he practices these habits, the more he strengthens this conversation, the more he builds confidence in himself. This realization warms him deeply, like sunlight touching his heart. As the day continues, Leo begins thinking about how he can help himself grow even more. He wonders what new habit he could try in the evening, something gentle, something peaceful. Perhaps reading a few pages of a book, or stretching his body, or listening to calming music. He imagines himself ending the day with a quiet ritual that helps him return to peace. And this imagination fills him with a sense of excitement, not big excitement, but a small warm feeling that spreads through his chest. He loves how simple life feels when he breaks it down into small actions, into slow moments. By the afternoon, Leo steps outside again for another walk. The air feels different now, warmer, softer, quieter. The sunlight sits gently on the buildings and the sky has a soft glow. As he walks, he thinks about how far he has come, not in distance, but in awareness. He thinks about how yesterday he felt lost, and today he feels grounded. He thinks about how small habits have already changed his day, and how they can continue changing his life. This reflection becomes another transformation, a deep understanding that real success grows slowly, like a tree. You water it every day. You give it sunlight. You protect it. And one day it becomes strong. But the strength does not appear in one moment. It appears in the quiet days, the simple days, the small habits. When evening arrives again, Leo returns home, opens his notebook, and begins writing about everything he felt today. He writes about the fears, the reflections, the calm moments, the gentle habits. And as he writes, his heart becomes lighter. He writes one sentence that feels like the truth he has been searching for. Every day is a new chance to begin. When he sees these words, he feels emotional, not sad, not overwhelmed, but deeply grateful. He realizes that for many years he believed success needed to be loud, fast, impressive. But now he knows the truth. Success is quiet. Success is slow. Success is steady. He turns off the lights again and sits in the soft glow of the evening. He closes his eyes and breathes deeply. He feels grateful for the day. He feels grateful for the habits. He feels grateful for the chance to grow slowly. And in this quiet moment, he whispers to himself, "I am becoming the person I always hoped to be, one day at a time." This reflection completes his day, filling him with a peaceful sense of accomplishment. Not because he did everything perfectly, but because he showed up. He tried. He cared. He lived with awareness. And now, the final takeaway of this long journey comes gently but clearly. Success is not a destination. Success is a habit. It is a collection of small decisions. It is a practice. It is the way you wake up, the way you walk, the way you breathe, the way you care for yourself. When you choose small habits every day, you build a life that feels meaningful. You build confidence. You build clarity. And you build a stronger version of yourself, slowly, quietly, beautifully. Leo learned that he does not need to be perfect. He only needs to begin again each morning. And you, listening to this story, practicing your English step by step, are doing the same. Each time you listen, each time you speak, each time you practice, you build your own habit of success. You become stronger. You become clearer. You become more confident. And this is the gift of daily habits. They transform you gently, from the inside out, one new day at a time. Thank you so much for joining today's lesson here at JBC English Learning Academy. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling me what you want to learn next. Your support helps the channel grow and helps me create more lessons for you. Take care, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next class.